Hi all. Okay, so this is a talk through the media concepts, which is section 1B of the exam, which you're going to sit on Friday the 7th of June. Okay. The first thing I think I want to remind you, okay, when you're revising, is that the concepts and everything we've ever done on concepts is in the blog. And you can search the blog for all the kind of 5 key concepts and all the posts we've ever done on those areas. Also at the top here, there's a link to the Concepts and Theorists booklet. However, I think the first thing I want to say about this is that this is an exam question which is about your text. Okay, you need to, of course, discuss some theory, some appropriate theory, at key moments, but it's not about theory. Okay, it's about your texts and applying one of five different concepts to those texts. Okay, so like we were saying, Mrs. Cobb was saying, okay, this is a 25 marker, 5 concepts of Mr. Nag, media language representation, narrative, audience, and genre. As with all these media exams, you get 5 marks for writing about terms. You get 10 marks for your ability to analyze your text, and you get 10 marks for the very specific examples you use in the texts. The big difference between concepts and skills is that in skills you write about multiple different texts and how your skills have developed. Here you're only writing about one text. You've got half an hour, okay, so you need to be ready. And I think this is something we've said to you throughout. You should have an essay in your mind, and you should have written all 5 essays, okay? So you've got half an hour to discuss your text in relation to the concept which shows up. It's useful to analyze it in the third person, to talk about the text. Okay, when you first write about it, you can, of course, use the first person, I. This was the text which I made with my group. Was the music magazine I made on my own in year 12. But subsequently, after that, you should write in the third person. Just talk about the text. Okay. You need to have those moments. You need to have those clear, specific shots, specific colors or fonts or filters, locations. Is something which you can discuss in your mind, kind of ready to go. That's your examples. You've got those, bunch of good examples. There's kind of 10 marks there straight off. Okay. It's also worth remembering, and students make this mistake quite a lot, is that they think or they are suggesting in the essay that they use the concept as a planning tool. So, for example, we taught you dia, and I think everyone understands the star is simultaneously ordinary and extraordinary. But this is not kind of a planning tool. You didn't design your star to be ordinary and extraordinary. You just designed a star with a particular representation, particular idea behind it. The theory is a kind of set of ideas which you apply to the text, but more of that in a little bit. The texts we are recommending are here. So for media language, we think your Digipack is great. You can talk about image, color, font, copy, and copy refers to the words which are there. You can discuss layout and positioning of different objects within that. You could talk about, in a minor way, about links to your music video and representation there. There's a bunch of theorists which you should learn. Barthes is your boy. Okay, Barthes crops up in all of the 5 concepts. Okay, to a greater or lesser degree. Okay, and there he is all the way throughout. Even in genre, you could drop something in about Barthes if you liked. So understanding that those codes and the way the particular signs in the media encode a particular meaning is useful for anything which you're writing about. Okay, but there are other theorists which you should be like I was saying, you should be applying their ideas to your text. It's not just a description of their ideas. It's all about your text. So to illuminate a little bit and discuss those kind of 5 ideas, there's this slideshow, Introduction to Concepts, which is going to be in Classroom along with the Screencastify. This is trying to illustrate the idea that at the heart of it is your text and your 6 to 10 examples that you should have ready. Just, they should be there at your fingertips. And then you're applying one of these 5 ideas to your text. I'm a huge fan of this guy called the Feynman technique. It's a useful little video worth watching. The basics is, he says, if you want to learn something, you should explain it. Also, you should explain it in simple terms. So it's really worth remembering, whatever essay you're doing, that you've got a clear idea. What is a genre analysis? What is a representation analysis? What's genre? What's a narrative analysis? Okay. And in this slide, I've just tried to explain them in very, very simple terms. Essentially, this is what you're doing in this essay. Okay, so if it's narrative, the way the story is put together, simplest terms, that is a narrative analysis. But it's this idea of putting it together, constructing a story with a beginning, middle, and end, or a thematic kind of story. Representation, how people, places, and things are constructed to be decoded. Okay, links very closely with audience. Audience and representation are completely intertwined with each other. Okay, and genre, it's about the rules of a predefined genre. So it's understanding those rules, which you've learnt through exploration of real media text. And here it's about understanding those rules and either following them or changing them. So please remember, these are the key ideas which you're doing. Okay, so the questions at this slideshow, I don't think I'm going to go through the whole thing, goes on to try and think, well, okay, if I'm doing genre, what specific questions am I asking of my text? If I'm doing an audience analysis, what specific questions am I asking of my text in relation to how the audience would decode it? Remember, the concepts overlap, okay, that they're not totally in isolation, okay, and that genre and narrative clearly overlap. Representation, media, language completely overlap. Audience and media language, you're constructing it for a particular audience to be decoded in a particular way using Barthes' theories. Okay, so really that's it. There's more in this slideshow which you could go through, which would be useful. This handout will also be applied, but just to go over the key ideas again. One product only. Okay, make sure you've got your moments. Okay, you've got clear kind of examples from your text which you're going to analyze. Okay, and learn Barthes. If there's one you learn, it's got to be Barthes. Okay, so good luck and see you.